Why do we even need that supernatural framework when we can have a life of purpose and value as real human beings in the real world? So.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Dan. I do get it. But I guess it goes back to me is a couple of things that just spring to mind. And I'm not going to remember track of everything we talked about. By the way, there's explanations on the Phineas thing, amongst other things, but because it's not about a mixed race couple. It's not even close to being about that. Moses was married to a Midianite, and it was fine with God.
And he told the Israelites, don't mix with the Midianites. He
Again,
said, don't mix with them.
Let's stick to the
So
topic
it was
of
a mixed
discussion.
race. It was a mixed group.
Yep, Moses married one, and it was okay. Anyway, I appreciate that you're saying that those are human values, and I'm definitely very happy that you have those values, and I'm very happy that a lot of atheists have those values. Terrific, fantastic. There's no justification for having those values. You said that they're humanistic values. They're not humanistic values. What they are is they're borrowed values. You're living and swimming in a post-Christian world. And so those values come from, I think, a Christian ethic, which when you look at the history of things, when you look at, David Bentley Hart has a great quote on this when he studies this whole thing. When you look at the Roman Empire, for example, Tom Holland has this whole thing as well, but in his book Dominion. And David Bentley Hart, when they talk about the fact that in the Roman Empire, this idea of love for the stranger, for the outsider, this idea of caring for the indigent and sacrificing for the poor and all these things, this was not laughable to our pre-Christian Roman ancestors. This was not even thinkable. They didn't even think of it to laugh at it in the first place. And everything we have now is just a palliated fragment of that ethic that we now enjoy. And they make the case that because of the gospel message that God himself cares so much for everybody that he's willing to do whatever it takes to bring people a salvation and to die for the least of these is what caused all of us to swim in the soup of that. Now, just one last quote, and then I'll finish, Dan. I take this from Marcello Pera. Marcello Pera is an atheist. Marcello Pera was a statesman in Italy. And Marcello Pera basically says that all of the things we care about, liberty, equality, and brotherhood or sisterhood, all of those things are echoes of this little booklet, he calls it, which he means the Gospels. And what he says at the end of that quote is that means that the Enlightenment was late, not that it was new.
And I would just say in 5 seconds that you have it totally backwards. Good Christians today, and I think most Christians are good Christians today, are borrowing from humanistic principles and calling it Christianity, which transcend any religion basically and transcend Christianity. But that's another debate.
So I'm going to bring in here, we're going to talk a little bit about reality, and I would just like to pose this question to the both of you. Take about a minute, 2 minutes to respond. I will cut you off at 2 minutes. This is an interesting statistic that I found. Larissa Rainey of the University of Pennsylvania in 2014 conducted original research and found something quite interesting. She found that while the vast majority of people crave purpose, roughly 91% encounter purpose anxiety. Going back to what I said about how we all probably have asked ourselves in this room, what is our purpose? Regardless of age, still 91% encounter that anxiety. I want to ask it to you gentlemen, and Dan, I'd like you to begin. Why do we as humans crave purpose in your view? Take about a minute, 2 minutes here.
Well, that's new to me. I don't know if I crave purpose. I guess if you're thinking about top down, people are wondering, why are we here? What's it all about? Is life just an accident? Is there no meaning of life? Maybe in that big sort of metaphysical picture, maybe a lot of people are asking themselves why. But if you flip it, then I don't crave purpose. I have purpose. I create purpose. We live in a life where we have problems to solve. There are challenges to meet. And in the process of doing that, all of us in our lives, we have things that we have to do. We have to pay the rent. We have to change the diapers. We have to mow the lawn. And we have to protect against disease. There's all these things that we do that are purposeful. Our life is filled with immense purpose every day. Some of it's thrust on us, but a lot of it is of our own choosing. So it's not that I'm I probably have too much purpose in life. It's not that I'm craving and what am I going to do with it? And it's only a craving if you have upside down picture that it has to come from up there. If that's what you think, and a lot of people have been raised in a culture where they think there's a big daddy who's going to give it to you, or some commanding officer in your military, that's where your purpose comes from, well, then you're going to have that anxiety. But I don't know, most of my atheist friends, I don't think they seem to have any, anxiety over purpose in life.
Thanks, Dan. Go ahead, Abdu.
Yeah, well, the statistic itself is startling because it's not most people. It's 91% of people. So maybe the 8% who don't have anxiety are atheists, I don't know. But 91% of humanity has an anxiety about trying to find that sense of purpose in their life. And I think that is a clue to the fact that we long for purpose in and of ourselves. What I mean is we long for purpose in an objective, sort of ultimate sense. That's where the anxiety comes from. Now, I think that there's a clue here because for every legitimate purpose, for every legitimate desire, there's a legitimate fulfillment. We're hungry because there's food. We are thirsty because there's water. We crave relationship because there's other people. We crave purpose because there is an ultimate purpose that will fulfill all of us. Now, what's interesting is that, and I know you did this in your debate with Mike Jones, and we're talking about this quite a bit, is the more secularized a society gets, the more anxious that society gets. Maybe not about purpose specifically, although I do think it's that. There's no way 91% of us are anxious about purpose and the 8% are just not religious people. But the more secular you get, the more anxious you become. You look at the Nordic countries. In Sweden, the Public Health Agency reports a significant rise in anxiety among young adults, with severe anxiety among young women increasing from 9% to 23% between 2011 and 2024. And adolescent loneliness has been on the rise across all 5 Nordic nations since 2022. Now, why I bring that up specifically is because these are amongst the most secularized countries in the world, once deemed the happiest, and now you look at it and you say, that is starting to plummet quite a bit.
They still are the happiest, by the way, Finland and Denmark.
Not for long.